Well, it gets down to two very fundamental questions, and these questions have different answers depending on whether you view it from a collectivist lens or an individual sovereignty lens. One question is, do you own yourself or not? And, 200 years ago, everybody in the country would have said, I own myself. When you ask that question now, particularly the younger generations, you don't get that clear of an answer. They don't think they owe themselves. They think they're obligated to others, and they think the government, to some extent, owns them. So that's one question that has really evolved over time. The answer has evolved over time. The other one is, what is the purpose of government? It's a very fundamental question. I mean, when people come together as a society, they're doing it for a reason. And so that society has to have some common understanding of what is this purpose of this common force that we're creating called government. Again, back at the founding of the United States, the concept was very simple. It was really just to protect life, liberty, and property. Today, it's literally to do everything. And that gets to a third question, which is, what is the meaning of freedom? And 200 years ago, people would have said, well, I want to be free from people telling me how to live my life. I want freedom of thought. I want freedom of action. If you ask people that today, and this thought process started with Franklin Roosevelt when he talked about his 4 freedoms during the Great Depression. When you ask people what they think freedom is today, they want to be free from the burdens of life. They want to be free from having to pay for this. They want to be free from having to earn that. They want to be free from being having to take risks. That's a very different look at freedom. They still think in their heads that's freedom, but the unfortunate implication of that kind of freedom is someone has to provide those things for you. If you want to be free from hunger, well, that means someone's providing you food, and that person is, to use a bold word, is essentially a slave to you now. But those 3 questions are answered very differently now than they were 200 years ago, and it's going to be hard to push everybody back to the original answers to those questions.
Well, yeah. I mean, so many people are going to, at least in the short term, think that they are losing something or giving something up in order to go back to that. I mean, I've got some people that I know. Obviously, I'm not going to say their name, but they have that exact attitude. They have this concept where they want to go. It's almost like off the grid living, only they are not actually supporting themselves. They're dependent on other people. So they're on someone else's land, using someone else's electricity, using a building that someone else paid for.
Yep.
And they, tell me, oh, it's so much freedom. It's so
Absolutely.
great. But no, it's like you're dependent on all these other people or organizations. And if just one of them, you're dependent on a lot of it, right? So if just one of them decides they're done with you, then you're out of there. And I don't know why. I'm not sure why they even think that is freedom. To me, independence and self-sufficiency, I mean, that gives you freedom. But the idea, I mean, I guess the idea is that you don't want to take personal responsibility for it, because then if you screw up, you have to look at yourself. You have to say, hey, it's my fault, I screwed up.